The Wall Street Journal is now reporting that Justice Department officials told President Trump in May that his name was among many names mentioned in the Epstein files. This is something the White House is now labeling as, quote, fake news, end quote.
All right, folks, this is simultaneously a follow-up to our previous video and an update in this ongoing bombshell scandal that was mentioned in the clip. The conservative Wall Street Journal, a sister publication of Fox News, has reported that Donald Trump was told in May by his own Justice Department that his name is all over the Epstein files. And then about a week ago, he denied ever being told that by the Justice Department. So if the reporting is true, Donald Trump was caught in a lie. But moreover, and this is being noted not just by Democrats, but also the American people all over even right-wing Twitter, is that the evidence seems to be mounting that Trump and the Trump administration engage in a massive cover-up to conceal the Epstein files in order to avoid politically hurting Donald Trump. And the backlash is mounting. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, there's a lot to unpack here. Again, this is an ongoing story, okay? And we have to look at MAGA's reaction or lack thereof. And they're desperate to not talk about this and to get away from it as the cover-up seems to be first exposed and then collapsing. But we're going to stay on it, okay? Dan Pfeiffer of Pod Save America, somebody that I'll be interviewing actually on Friday, he makes a really compelling case, and we're going to look at his message Substack article. It's called The Message Box about this. He says this is now officially a massive scandal with a cover-up that includes the president, the attorney general, the FBI director, and the GOP Congress. Okay, and again, it's predicated on this Justice Department, or excuse me, this Wall Street Journal reporting that we discussed in a previous video. So we're not going to reread the article. You can check it out for yourselves. And as a reminder, though, Trump was asked a week ago before this story broke, but well after May, when the events of the story occurred, he was asked, hey, did the Justice Department, whenever they briefed you about the Epstein files, did they tell you that your name was in it?
How many more states? The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's
No. So he says, nope, my name's not in it. I wasn't told my name was in it. Nothing to do with it. Okay. I will also note that according to Dick Durbin, okay, the Senate Democratic whip, that the FBI was reportedly instructed by the Justice Department during their review of the Epstein files earlier this year to flag any reference to Donald Trump. So the pieces seem to be coming together in a way that Trump doesn't like. And again, when you see the backlash on social media, and I'll show you because the story just broke, it's fresh. And MAGA commentators and pundits are scrambling to come up with some sort of, some sort of defense. But right now they're staying silent on it and trying to distract with other things. We'll get to all of that. What's also interesting is earlier today, hours before the story broke, Attorney General Pam Bondi was supposed to do a speaking event, and then she abruptly canceled.
You have some news from the Attorney General's office.
I do. Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here with us today and having me. I do have a note from the Attorney General, from Attorney General Pam Bondi, that I wanted to share, which is the following. I'm sorry to miss all of my CPAC friends today, especially Matt and Mercy Schlapp, Senator Blackburn, and the wonderful team at the Tim Tebow Foundation. Unfortunately, I am recovering from a recently torn cornea, which is preventing me from being with you.
All right, so that was reported earlier today, hours before this story broke. She canceled this high-profile public event. Now, I'm having a bit of fun with this. I mean, perhaps the Attorney General's cornea was torn. Perhaps it's legitimate. But as I put here, the actual, here's the torn cornea, which is a screenshot of the Wall Street Journal article. I wouldn't put it past a Trump administration official to try to duck this, okay? So she cancels this major public appearance hours before this bombshell story breaks. Now, again, we'll get to the backlash and we'll get to why this sure seems to be a cover-up. But again, where I'm trying to unfold this for you in terms of the reaction. Fact Post News, which is a pro-Democrat, liberal, progressive watchdog of the Trump administration, they pointed this out. Looks like the truth came out, and they quoted Elon Musk when he said back in June, mark this post for the future, the truth will come out, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. And of course, we have since learned from that Wall Street Journal reporting that according to that, that's exactly the case. As friend of the show, Mehdi Hassan points out, I hate agreeing with Elon Musk, but Elon was right. So again, we will keep trying. There's so many vectors by which to examine this. Republican Accountability, which I believe is affiliated with Sarah Longwell, they're having a really fun time just like responding to, quote, tweeting prominent conservatives about things they previously said about the Epstein files, which of course now works against them, like Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro. I've not seen Megyn Kelly or Ben Shapiro or Jack Posobiec's reaction so far. They have been largely muted, these MAGA commentators, okay? And we will, I assure you, be tracking their cope and their dishonest responses to this as it comes out. But right now, it's been a radio silence. They are panicked. But this shit is trending, and it's trending in multiple phrases, multiple idioms on Twitter, okay? So if you look at Epstein and Trump, one of the things trending, it's all over the place. People are commenting on this. Do not stop talking about Trump and Epstein. He lied right to your face. Midas Touch, of course, reporting on it. A lot of liberal users and just users general, like, again, the mainstream MAGA commentators have been largely silent. It's just all over the place. It's one of the many, many, many politically inconvenient trends for Trump. But it also says Trump is in the Epstein. That's also trending. Brian Krasenstein, a liberal commentator, says, told you so. The Justice Department told Trump that his name appears in the government's files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In May, the Wall Street Journal reported, this is why Tulsi Gabbard is attacking Obama. And again, that's what's worth noting, folks, that, disastrous press briefing we covered earlier today with Carolyn Levitt and Tulsi Gabbard, it was already a disaster. And then for this story to break immediately after, the Obama, Tulsi Gabbard, Carolyn Levitt presser about the Obama hoax, that was a fart in the wind. Like, that's gone now. Nobody really cared from the beginning except right-wingers determined to try to distract from Epstein. And to whatever extent that had any sort of efficacy, it's gone now. This is overtaking it everywhere. Elon Musk told us Trump is in the Epstein files, and he was right. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and wingman was told in May by the DOJ he was in the Epstein files. Again, Midas Touch. This is trending, folks. It's everywhere. So this is the second major phrase. You look at hashtag pedo president. That's trending, folks. It's trending. Hashtag pedo president. Trump has always been a hunter. He'd hunt down kids. I mean, that's one of the things written here on Truth Social, on Twitter. May every day be another wonderful secret. Trump to Epstein on his 50th birthday. Hashtag pedo president. Hashtag pedo president declares that that President Obama is guilty of treason. I've been checking my DMs. This just makes my skin crawl. It's just everywhere. This is trending. So that's the third major trending thing related to Donald Trump and the Epstein files. Here's a fourth one. Release the Epstein files. This is trending. Adam Schiff, Democratic Senator Ryan Goodman. The Epstein files don't have an incentive to lie for a cover-up. A convicted. This is, of course, related to the Ghislaine Maxwell testimony. Democratic Representative Jason Crow. Donald Trump is the biggest swamp monster of them all right now. Release the Epstein files. Thomas Massey for Congress. Republican. He's weighing in on it as well. It's just all over the place. And if you look at cover-up, there was one hashtag that mentioned a Trump cover-up, and I can't find it now because these things are constantly shifting. If you just look up cover-up, it's everywhere. People are like, oh my God, this is a cover-up. Trump always knew he was in the Epstein files. He and his minions have been doing damage control and trying to cover up ever since Pam Bondi. Charlie Sykes, the founder of the Bulwark, is talking about a cover-up as well. Dan Pfeiffer, whose article, again, we're about to read. Anonymous says, the hacker group Anonymous says, right now, Trump loyalists in dark rooms doing their best to remove Trump's name from Epstein files as best they can. Evidence is being manipulated. Speaker Johnson gave them the time they need by stalling the vote. This is a cover-up. You're being played. I don't know if there's any falsification of the Epstein files in the government's possession, but certainly this, again, starts to look like a cover-up, as we will look from Dan Pfeiffer's article in a second. Hey, Speaker Johnson, how's your national Jeffrey Epstein cover-up day off going? Feel good that you're helping cover up for sex traffickers. It's everywhere. It's just everywhere. And I actually have a thread that I'm hoping people continue to add to on my personal account, pinning this thread. Let's reply here with screenshots and links to cope from prominent Trump supporters about this fucking headline. And as I noted, Charlie Kirk was silent. Nothing yet from Charlie Kirk as he nervously awaits orders from high command. People, the MAGA diehards are doing everything in their power to avoid talking about this to the best of their ability. If you actually look at Charlie Kirk, we'll just refresh. Maybe he finally commented on it. No, he's not. He's distracted. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. He's trying to distract about something else related to the Epstein files, how a judge in Florida blocked the release of Epstein grand jury testimony, which again is only a fraction of the Epstein files. And Charlie Kirk is like, see, the deep state's actually stopping Trump from releasing the Epstein files. He's like, are you paying attention yet? I'm like, are you paying attention yet? By posting a screenshot of this particular article, which of course they don't like, but he has not responded yet. Benny Johnson, another Charlie Kirk tier right-wing dipshit MAGA loser. Let's refresh the page. Maybe he's commented. Nope. Instead, his most recent post is, hey, Jeff Bezos is thinking about buying CNBC. So, and I responded with breaking. Your cult leader was told in May he's in the Epstein files and then publicly denied that. So these people right now, the MAGA faithful, the diehard MAGA conservatives, the actual big name influencer accounts, they're so fucking speechless because this cover up is collapsing in real time. They've got nothing. They're dead radio silent on this. So let's take a look at this message box article courtesy of Dan Pfeiffer, saying Trump's Epstein problem is officially a massive political scandal. The Wall Street Journal reports shows that this is a cover-up that includes Trump, the Attorney General, the FBI Director, and the GOP Congress, okay? The Jeffrey Epstein scandal has now been ongoing for 3 weeks. It continues to dominate the political conversation. It's nearly impossible for Trump or the Republicans to get a message out without anything other than Trump's cover-up of the Epstein files. When this whole thing took off a few weeks ago, I thought it was just one of those stories that tend to dominate the otherwise quiet days of summer. A fun distraction, watching grifters have to answer for trying to dupe their audience and supporters. Trump and his allies were the dog that caught the car. Most people talking, writing, posting, and podcasting about Epstein are approaching it from a position of schadenfreude, where the true crime is hypocrisy. However, I think we're all missing the point. We are making the same mistake we often make with Trump. Because he's such a ridiculous clown-like figure, we don't take his crimes seriously enough. He is held to a different, lower standard than any other president. I think that's a really compelling point that I have to be careful about. I can't speak for the rest of you, but I have to be careful about, because while there is schadenfreude about this whole thing collapsing around its ears, we have to be careful that that doesn't go in service to grading Trump on a curve and not reacting with a sort of visceral disgust and seriousness that we would if it were anybody else. If you take a step back from the absurdity that is Trump and his moronic co-conspirators, the Epstein imbroglio is quickly metastasizing into a massive political scandal, the sort of scandal that's brought previous presidencies to their knees. It's now clear that there's a cover-up that includes the president, the attorney general, the FBI director, the intelligence community, and the GOP Congress. I imagine that sounds like hyperbole to some of you, but let me make the case. Number one, it's now officially a massive cover-up. The Wall Street Journal had a blockbuster report that proved Trump's refusal to release the Epstein files as part of a massive cover-up of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, and so it goes on to quote excerpt from that, where again they tell him that his name is in the Epstein files. Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice walked back their promise to release the Epstein files because they wanted to protect Trump. The Attorney General and Trump went to great lengths to hide this fact. Trump lied to the country when he recently said that Bondi had not informed him that his name was in the Epstein files. The report also says that FBI Director Kash Patel has been telling other government officials that Trump is named in the files. The question is, what do the files say about Trump? Number two, Trump is trying to hide his relationship with a sex trafficker. Trump's refusal to release the Epstein files is largely being covered as a broken campaign promise. Too many in the media are afraid to speculate as to why Trump is refusing to release the files. The core issue is that Trump used to party with a sex trafficker who in 2008 cut a plea agreement with 2 charges of procuring a minor for prostitution and was later charged in 2019 with sex trafficking minors. It's hard to think of a more heinous crime. Trump is blocking the release of the files that could shed light on his relationship with a notorious sex trafficker with whom he was so close that he sent him highly cryptic birthday cards about shared interests and secrets. With any other president or political figure, with such a set of facts would have the media treating the scandal like Watergate 2.0, but not so with Trump. His history of sexual misconduct is well known. He won an election after he was caught on tape admitting to grabbing women by the pussy. So there's the sense that anything in the Epstein files would be old news or the voters wouldn't care. However, that is a massive amoral abdication of reality. While there has been no evidence to suggest wrongdoing, Trump's behavior makes it very clear that there's something in the Epstein files that he does not want to come out. What is it that Trump is afraid of? Given everything else has come out about him, it must be pretty bad. These are, again, a very compelling case to make there, given that Teflon Don is afraid of what's in these files. Number 3, Trump is using intelligence agencies as part of his cover-up. Trump has been desperately trying to change the subject from Epstein. He's been truthing up a storm about various cultural hot-button issues to try to distract the press and his disenchanted MAGA base. But on Friday, Trump brought the U.S. intelligence community into the cover-up. DNI Tulsi Gabbard released a quote-unquote report of incomplete and previously debunked information alleging some sort of criminal conspiracy involving President Obama. Again, we've talked about that at length. We addressed it in a previous video, so I'm going to scroll down. The Gabbard report is a transparently political move designed to distract from the Epstein scandal. Trump has enlisted the intelligence community, which should have more important things on its to-do list, to participate in a scandal management. This politicization of historically apolitical intelligence professionals is a significant transgression. Number 4, the Epstein scandal just shut down Congress. And again, we've talked about that at length and done videos about it. Earlier this week, Speaker Mike Johnson was prepared to allow Congress to vote on a non-binding resolution calling for the release of the Epstein files. Then all of a sudden, and without any coherent explanation, Johnson changed his mind and shut down Congress for the summer. The Republicans were so afraid of having to vote on the Epstein files that they couldn't even remain in Washington. The cross-pressure of their base, which wants transparency, and a president who is deathly afraid of transparency, were simply too much to bear. Before long, Congress has to pass a budget bill or the government will shut down. Not the easiest task for this Congress, even under the ideal circumstances. There's no reason to believe the GOP's Epstein problem will be resolved by September when they have to come back to work. And you bet your ass that we're going to work overtime to make sure that that problem has not gone away, as well should you. They are hoping that we get bored. They're hoping we get distracted. Screw that. Screw that. Donald Trump did violate campaign promises. He's lying. He's engaging and perhaps orchestrating a massive cover-up. He should suffer the political consequences, no matter how long-lasting. If you can ignore the ridiculousness of Trump and the buffoonery of his co-conspirators, you will see that this is a massive scandal now with a cover-up that spans much of government. It should be treated with the same scrutiny and seriousness as other major scandals, such as Watergate and Iran-Contra. I think it's a really compelling case by Dan Pfeiffer, and again, we're going to keep covering this. MAGA is scrambling at the moment. They're freaking out. They are strangely silent. Think of the last time when these assholes like Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson have been silent about anything. That just goes to demonstrate the depth of their panic. And let's make sure that they suffer political consequences by covering this in depth through every vector. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.